Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. I have a lot of your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift regarding NXT TakeOver Dallas, the WWE Women's Division as it's known as now, and many other topics. So let's get started today with the first one, which comes from Abraham. Hey Aaron, long-time viewer, first-time asker. Do you consider Zayn versus Nakamura to be a 5-star match? That is a very interesting question. I'm not sure if I would say it's a 5-star match because there's just so many things you have to look at when you're considering a match to be 5 stars. I think that historical impact is one of those things, and I'm not sure if Zayn versus Nakamura is going to have a lasting impact on the wrestling business. I mean, it might happen. Maybe Nakamura will be one of the biggest stars in WWE history, and it will usher in a new era of change in the company. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. You look at a match like Steve Austin versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13, a match that was voted 5 stars by Dave Meltzer. That match really had significant impact on the wrestling industry. When Steve Austin turned babyface, he became the biggest star in the company. They did this major double heel turn. They had a very intriguing storyline leading up to the match. And with Zayn versus Nakamura, there really wasn't much of a storyline. They just announced Nakamura coming in and Zayn would be his first opponent. The match was excellent. I mean, no question about it. And I will say this, I think it was the best match on either show. When you look at all the matches on TakeOver and WrestleMania, I thought Zayn versus Nakamura was the best match and the most satisfying match. So I will say that. Alright, this one comes from Principe. Do you see Nakamura moving up to the WWE roster and winning the WWE Championship or being just a mid-card champion? That is a hard question to answer because Nakamura is not the type of guy that WWE has pushed to the top in the past. He's not Roman Reigns. He's not the big, strong, handsome guy that can go out there and be the kind of character that Vince McMahon thinks is a main event superstar. But, in my opinion, Nakamura is as good in the ring as anybody on the main WWE roster right now. He is one of the best performers in the world. He's extremely charismatic, and I think that if he is given the opportunity to succeed, he will succeed. And I said this about Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and so many others. The cream eventually rises to the top, and even if he does get held back, I think he will have a successful run in WWE. He needs to be on the main roster as soon as possible. There's some concern that, jokes being made that Vince will give him this goofy stereotype gimmick. They'll make him a Japanese chef, or they'll pair him up with Yoshitatsu and Funaki and have them job out to Roman Reigns. All that's a joke. I think they'll take him seriously. I think he will be a big star in WWE. How big? That might take some luck. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Alright, this one comes from J-Ro. What do you think of the WWE Women's title? Personally, I love it. I think it's great. I know some people have been critical of it, but I think no matter what change you make, there's always going to be some people that do not like the change. They're used to something, and when it gets changed, they get a little bit upset. I think it's a huge improvement over the butterfly title. I was never able to take that belt seriously, and I like the fact that it was purposely designed to be similar to the men's WWE World Championship. It makes the women's division feel like it's equal to the men's division. I'm a huge fan of it personally. Alright, this one comes from John. Hey Aaron, what do you think was the biggest letdown for WrestleMania? I think it was Sasha not winning the belt. Please answer in video. I would agree with you on that. I was disappointed in Roman Reigns winning, but I cannot say I was surprised that Roman Reigns won. Sasha not winning the title, that surprised me. If you guys have been following the videos, and most of you have, I was saying for months that Sasha should win the women's title at WrestleMania. That's how I would have done it. I said this a long time ago. I said this back in the summer. I was very surprised when she did not win the title. It seemed to be the right timing. And sometimes timing is everything, and you really have to go with something when the momentum is there. It felt like Sasha had the momentum. She had Snoop Dogg there. And I think WWE missed out on a huge opportunity, because if she had won the title with Snoop Dogg there by her side, that would have gotten a lot of mainstream coverage. MTV, VH1, all the magazines, Rolling Stone. I just feel WWE dropped the ball there by not having her win the title. And now I wonder if Sasha's momentum will cool off. As it turns out, it looks like they're going to do Charlotte versus Natalya as the next match for the women's title. And my concern is Sasha's momentum will cool off, and if and when she wins the women's title, it will not have the impact that it would have had at WrestleMania. Alright, this one comes from Cesar Gonzalez. Does Charlotte winning the women's championship by interference water down the prestige they were building towards it? Not really, because Charlotte is a heel champion, and that's what heels do. They cheat. Ric Flair cheated all the time in his heyday. He always won with shady tactics, whether the Horsemen interfered or he used brass knucks or J.J. Dillon got involved. Yet Ric Flair was an extremely credible World Heavyweight Champion, and I feel Charlotte is a credible champion, and I really have no problem with the heels cheating to retain the title. Like I said, the real issue I had with that whole match was Sasha not winning. I felt that she had the momentum. I really wasn't bothered with Charlotte winning because of outside interference. Alright, this one comes from Mr. Johnson. So what did you think of the Rock segment and the in-ring return against the Wyatt family? Hashtag no more beard and hashtag no more hair. I enjoyed the segment. I was entertained by seeing The Rock and John Cena again. But at the same time, I felt like the segment really dragged. When The Rock came out there and started setting his name on fire with the fire gun, I was just thinking to myself, this show is going on for way too long. And then you had Bray Wyatt come out. They had this long banter back and forth. And I was like, all right, just get to the point here. John Cena comes out. Rock and Cena clean house. That was fine. I think the one really big mistake, besides having the segment go on for too long, was having Bray Wyatt get laid out by John Cena and The Rock. I think having Rowan get beat up and even having Strowman get beat up, that's fine. But Bray Wyatt is a guy that you're probably going to be having against Brock Lesnar at some point. And if that's the case, it's a mistake to have him show any weakness at WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, the show that people remember. People will remember Bray Wyatt getting his ass kicked at WrestleMania. And is that really a wise booking idea when you're trying to build up Bray Wyatt for Brock Lesnar? Alright, this one comes from Rob K. Was I still half asleep for the WrestleMania main event, or did the Wyatt family make a face turn tonight on Raw? That certainly seems to be what the case is. The fact that they came out there and attacked the League of Nations, a heel group. That's the first time we've seen Bray Wyatt do one of his attacks on a heel person or a heel faction. But at the same time, like I said in the previous question, there are still plans to do Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar. And if that's the case, you would think Bray Wyatt is going to be the heel in that match, unless they decide to turn Lesnar heel. I'm not really sure what's going on with the Wyatt family. Maybe they'll just be tweeners for now. I mean, it definitely seems like a lot of characters in WWE aren't really heels or faces. They're shades of gray, and maybe that's a new direction in the company. You know, Roman Reigns coming out there saying, I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy, I'm the guy. You know, stuff like that. And with the New Day, they come out, they're getting these huge reactions, and they're facing heels, but they're still kind of acting heelish. I'm not really sure what overall direction WWE is going in with their characters, and what's going to happen with the Wyatt family, if they're just going to be tweeners and shades of gray. I really don't know at this point. All right, this one comes from Mr. Yuck. Bobby Roode was in attendance for NXT. Is this a sign of things to come? Would he make a better heel or face? Well, from what I understand, he is going to be part of NXT, and I doubt that they would show him on television without him being signed to a deal, especially after James Storm came in and then went right back to TNA. I think WWE will be more careful about who they show on television. My guess is Bobby Roode will do well in WWE. Like Nakamura, I think he's extremely talented and the cream will rise to the top. As far as should he be a heel or a face, I think Bobby Roode's best work in TNA was as a heel. I think he really peaked when he won the TNA World title. He used the beer bottle on James Storm in one of TNA's more memorable angles. I think Bobby Roode works best as a heel, and I think that's how you should have him be portrayed at first, and then eventually, I think he could do very well as a babyface, but let him get established as a heel first in NXT and even in WWE as well. Alright, this one comes from Sean X. Reed. Do you feel WWE will ever have the courage to take risks in their booking choices again? I would like to say yes, but I think it would take a lot for WWE to really shake things up and go outside the box with new ideas. I think it would take business taking a major hit, and not just TV ratings, but network subscriptions going down and house show attendances dropping. It would take a lot of things, I think, for WWE to really make some significant changes. As long as they're making money and the dollar signs are there and they keep getting the revenue pouring in, I really do not see them taking any kind of risks, whether it's necessary or unnecessary risks. I just think they're going to keep doing what they have been doing as long as it's profitable for them. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest regarding WWE as we head closer to the next pay-per-view Payback. And I will see you guys next time for more.